Hi, everyone. It's Tina Brigley, and I'm here with Dr. Saima Khan. And I love this interview because we had just a very powerful conversation before we started about the reality of motherhood and the impact of postpartum depression. Now, I know a lot of women who experience postpartum depression, they really let it hijack their life. But what she did was reinvented her life. So I want to welcome Dr. Sama Khan. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, Tina,
Yes.
for the invite.
Yeah.
It's
So
always my pleasure.
tell us tell us about that moment when you realized you may have more than just like the mommy blues. When did you realize postpartum was a real thing and you were really struggling with being a mom and dealing with the impact of postpartum depression?
So, throughout my pregnancy, I had a very rosy period. I used to travel a lot, walks, gymming, and everything, like live a normal life, normal Saima life, how it was. And slowly after the birth of my daughter, um, it started with sleepless nights. So I thought it's just fatigue, it's just change of routine, and and eventually I noticed a significant change, not in just in terms of my body, like I had eye bags and I had stuff like that because of the physical exertion, but I didn't take the joy in simple things of life. My daughter, at time, I didn't want to say, it's not, I don't feel it the same way now, but it was more like a duty rather than something coming from the heart.
Mm.
Because when you don't sleep properly, you have an erratic you know schedule, actually no schedule at all. Sometimes there were days when I didn't feel like getting up. I went to my gynac, and she said that it's something more, and it's high time you do something about it. Either start journaling, start pay more attention to your feelings, to how you feel, write your feelings down. And then when I had a follow-up appointment with her, she told me, you are actually in postpartum depression. So if you want, I can give you a number of psychiatrists or psychologists, and you might be they'll give you some medication, and then you should be good in few months. And I thought, no, that's not going to work. I'm not going to put myself into medication without actually doing something about it.
Mm.
So slowly and slowly, I started, like, I took small steps. Like, I gave myself 1 hour every day, and I used to go for a long walk. And during that walk, I used to think and reflect.
Mhm.
And I realized that what I'm feeling is that currently I'm just thinking myself as a mommy. I'm just thinking of myself as a tired individual. And I don't relate to who I was or who I feel my self identity or self worth is. And for me, self worth is not attached to just being a mother, just
Right.
being a spouse. Self worth is something more than your family responsibilities or your social responsibilities. It's something about you from
Right.
within. Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit because when we're talking about self-worth and attaching it to our identity, I mean, before you became a mommy, before you had a baby, I mean, you had a pretty impressive job, role at the university, head of marketing and
Yeah.
advertising. So tell us about your life before motherhood. What were you doing? What were you creating? Because I think a lot of times when people they have this big job, big life, big things happening. Then they experience motherhood or a transition. Then they're in this stage of limbo of like, okay, I know myself to be this person, but now I'm this person at home changing diapers and barely
Yeah.
being able to get out of bed. Like, what the heck is happening to me? So, what was your life like before?
So I had done a PhD in luxury fashion branding and marketing. My PhD involved traveling a lot to some fancy places in Europe, including Paris, Monaco, And, I went to Milan a few times for my research work. And when I was working in Saudi, I was actually heading my whole marketing department. So I had a lot of, I would say, power, authority. I was collaborative also. And I was always busy taking on different projects, not just teaching. I was approached by various premium brands and luxury retailers in that area to help them with some business problems, business issues. And the work was very fancy. It involved eating at fancy places and traveling and a lot of, human interaction, a lot of speaker sessions. And it challenged me. And I love challenges. So somehow, somebody whose life was so fancy in every way, and I felt that, if I spend so many years of my life, getting a PhD, educating myself, and putting so much effort of building myself, I was actually feeling or reaping the fruits of that, I would say.
Right.
And suddenly being a mommy, and it was in Saudi, and I was so exhausted beyond a point that I decided to take a mini break. It was supposed to be a mini break and just be a mom and be there with her and then get back to work again. But I didn't realize that motherhood would come with its own blues or with its own depression and things like that. It literally shook me from within
Wow.
until it came to a point where I had to take maybe some pills or some therapy, and I wasn't ready for that because the fighter in me wanted to try it out something myself before I go for something like that. Because I'm not saying there's nothing wrong, but still you need to give yourself a chance to figure things out first and see if you really need to go that way, or you can work it around, by yourself.
Yeah, and that's so symbolic of, I think, what we do as coaches and consultants too. A lot of people are really down, they're really low, and they're like, "No, no, no, I can figure it out on my own. Like, I am educated. I have, all of this training and development and education. Like, I don't need help. I can figure this out on my own." And
Yeah.
I know that sometimes, like, our pride, our ego is like, "No, no, no, I got this. I got this." And then there comes a point you're like, "Okay, I might need a little tweak. I might need somebody to just help me see what I can't see."
Mhm.
And when you're going through that, there was other things that were happening to you, right? Like your dad was diagnosed with
Yeah.
cancer,
Yeah.
like your marriage. And so, in the thick of things, what was it like, not just with transitioning into motherhood and kind of leaving that other life on the back burner right now, but what was life like for you kinda after that was happening?
Like when I was also dealing with my, raising up my daughter because I didn't have a village to support me since I am an immigrant. It's just me and my husband. And we decided that I'll stay at home for some time and unless she like grows till 2. And then, he'll continue with the work. So all the mommy responsibilities, he is very cooperative, but unfortunately he has a job to do, so all the responsibilities came on me. And then came a news that my father has is terminally ill and he has stage 4 lung cancer. And the doctor said that we don't know how long he would survive. So we don't know how efficient the medicines or treatments will be. So that really lowered my spirits down, and I didn't know what to do. Should I go back home and spend some time with him? How do I process that? So I was like shuttling between two countries, back home and in Canada. And, I had no time for myself, for me, the Saima within me. And I didn't realize at that point because that I had different priorities at that particular point of time. But eventually, in a month, in a few, 2 months, I started noticing that, I have lost myself completely. And with that gynec appointment, and, it was like, it showed me a mirror And then I realized that actually I didn't lose my value, but I turned blind to my value. So
Oh,
it's not that I'm not valuable. It's just that I have forgotten, or I just closed my eyes to even identify what lies within and how much I have gained in this period of struggle. I feel that I have a better emotional intelligence now. I'm more resilient now. So I realize that times like these, they bring out the best in you.
mhm,
So, and similarly, I decided that there are several brands, several people, immigrant moms, new businesses who would be doubting their decisions to, start a business or, their entrepreneurship journey. So, why not also help them out? It's not that they don't lack value, but they definitely lack the clarity, the language, the right positioning, and the right visibility, how to reposition or reframe themselves. So that's what I'm trying to do with my consulting company, Ingenious Insight Strategies. And I'm happy to say that since I am a business owner, I have my time to give to my daughter. I'm not time bound to a specific organization. And now I'm feeling like the Saima I was, and even better, because it's not that my education, it seems that I have given it a right purpose, a right
mhm,
direction, you
mhm.
know. Yeah.
Wow. And I think there's so many women, maybe men too, that are I see Michael here on the live. Hi, Michael. Vesper. I think there's so many people that wake up and think that I have all of these things. I'm traveling the world and I'm eating these fancy dinners and this is showing that I'm a worthy human being. And then something like this happens where they realize people are sick, people are dying. Like motherhood, there's more to us than just what we do. But like all of those things can be happening and it's not about who what we're doing, but who we're being in the process. And I think that's really hard for entrepreneurs too when they're establishing their brands and they're building their business. Life never stops happening.
Yeah.
We wish that it could, like, not ever get setbacks, everybody's healthy and everybody's happy and the money's flowing, and that's ideal. But who do we get to be when life sets us back, when things are happening,
Yeah.
and how do we overcome?
And I also realized that, the real worth is not what you do, it's not just about you, me, 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 me. It's not just about you.
Mm,
It's about ultimately how you give back to the society in some way or the other.
mm,
And, it changed my perspective on motherhood also. It was not just about, okay, because motherhood is a very one way journey, the other person is not giving you something like, transactionally. It's
yes.
just the satisfaction of, seeing them grow into beautiful humans and finding joy in their smile, finding joy in their giggles, you know, enjoying the sight of uh, seeing them playing around, swimming, calling you mama, things like that. So I realized, and similarly being there with my dad, I spent a lot of quality time with my dad, and we had long chats. And now unfortunately he passed away like
Mm,
2 months back, but I'm glad that I have some great memories of him. And
mm,
similarly now with this Ingenious Insight Strategies, I really find joy in, seeing the smile on my clients. They are no longer my clients, they're like my friends, helping them out with simple things. I had a case where this lady, she is like selling a sustainable product, and it's very easy to say sustainable, planet friendly these days, but I help her communicate the right message, that why is does she need to say that she sells sustainable things. So giving them some purpose, giving them that clarity, and it's not just about something transactional, but the goodwill, the you know uh, the goodwill, the satisfaction you get,
Yeah,
That
I love that.
that's what I learned, that, life is more about these things than just trips, fancy things, all these things are superficial. So I matured, I grew, and that's my story, I would say.
I love that. I mean, thank you so much for sharing your story because I will say this every single interview. The darkness needs to be there in order for the light to be revealed, and I think that our light is our purpose, and it's only in the dark moments that we realize that our purpose is inside and what we
Yeah.
have to give. It's an inner game that we're playing. It's not out there. It looks like it's out there, but really those out there things, when we can be that person that can give back and give back in a profound way. I mean, there's no greater gift to the world, but that would have never come out if we would just keep doing what we did,
Exactly.
keep doing
Exactly.
the thing and eating the fancy restaurants and somebody else do, whatever it is. But when we have these moments, it makes us step back and think about what's this really for? And what am I supposed to give back? And so if you are watching right now and you're in the setback, if you're in the darkness, if you're in those moments where you see, like, how the heck am I ever going to get out of here? Trust the process. Trust that you will come out on the other side. There is light at the end of the dark tunnel, no matter what. And I think the other big takeaway that I'm taking away from this is that who you get to be, finding yourself in the darkness is a gift.
Mm.
And Sama, where can people find you if they want to learn more about how to turn their brand into a luxury brand, how to communicate their message, how to communicate their products and services that are more like, you know, that appeal to more people? Where can they find you?
So I primarily operate from LinkedIn. So they can find me on LinkedIn. I can, share the link on the chat. And other than that, I also have my email, so they can, get through that as well.
Awesome, and you can follow her on Substack. I encouraged her to open up an account. It's brand
Just,
new, but
just,
maybe
just,
we can yeah, maybe we can help her build her connections through this,
yeah,
interview, and thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Dr. Sama, for being here and sharing your story with us. I know people are gonna resonate with this. So,
yeah.
are there any final words that you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
I just wanted to say that no matter what happens in your life, never stop believing in yourself. And I know it's easier said than, done or felt, but everything has a purpose. Every event is leading you to your destiny, to your real purpose in life. And the ultimate purpose in life is to be meaningful, to contribute back to the beautiful universe where we live. You could do it through consulting, you could do it through career coaching, you could do it through counseling, you could find your own ways. You could do it even through motherhood, simple thing like that. But that gives you pleasure, if that gives you pleasure. So find your true calling and never stop believing in yourself. And always remember the 3 R's, which I live by. First is that reveal your own value, then reframe your story, and lastly, re-identify yourself.
Beautiful. I love
So,
that. Love that
those are the
message.
three. Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for watching. And if you think that somebody can resonate with this message and can get value from hearing this story so that they can feel a little less alone, then let's definitely share it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.